Are we live? Oh no, we're previewing.
Previewing.
Yeah, it says preview. Oh, now it says we're live. Yes,
That was
my
weird.
favorite.
It's like I was this I'm scratching my neck and it looks like I'm actually getting petted or something. It was kind of funny.
But
It's a
it's
good way to
not.
start a show. Oh,
Yeah.
I gotta take a second so you can say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone. Uh-oh. Now I'm just alone with everybody. Okay. Well, we're going to talk about NFTs this morning whenever Jeff gets back.
My cave was feeling a little hot.
Uh-oh.
Open a window.
Yeah, well, it got real awkward while you were gone.
What happened? Oh no.
You'll just have to watch it to find
Now
out.
I'll have to watch the first few seconds to see. It just went so downhill in like 5 seconds.
It totally no, it was
Oh, thanks. A good way to ruin a stream, Darcy.
or did I?
Or did
Maybe it's
you?
better
Maybe it
now.
got better. Maybe I need to be gone all the time. All
No,
right.
no, please don't.
So, today, wow. How long has it been that we've been pushing this show? I think a
Um,
while.
I think 3 weeks. I know we didn't do it the last 2 weeks.
I don't know. It's been a little
Yeah,
while. So, good morning, good early morning for some, good
yeah,
late afternoon for others. Who knows? Who knows what
but
time it is nowadays?
that's true. But it is early for us, for sure.
Yep.
I'm only on cup number 2.
Cup number two at this
Yeah,
early. That's funny.
yeah, that's not very much.
So, we're gonna talk about crypto finally. Yay! Blockchain
Yay!
stuff, NFTs. Actually what I kind of I don't know. I don't even know how to go because what I want to cover there's so much that's happened in the last few weeks that I can't not talk about it because it
Sounds good.
is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Um and then we have some cool shows coming up, but I think we're gonna maybe change the title and I don't know what we're gonna do about the weekday shows. The Saturday shows are a lot of fun. So if you haven't
They are
joined us
super
on
fun.
Saturday, those are just fun shows, and you might learn something. I mean that's kind of like our premise here. You might learn something, but those are definitely a lot more light. But as far as our programming and tech side, that's what this side would be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we haven't been doing much programming lately, so that's a little sad. But there's so much to talk about, at least right at the moment. So let's just get into it.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm curious.
Where are we at today? Oh my gosh, it can't go up anymore. I need to acquire more. Oh, I was hoping it
Why
was going to
can't
go
it?
down for a minute, but yeah, I don't have money to spend on it. This is good. Okay, and this is part of why I wanted to talk about stuff. Bitcoin today is looking nice and juicy, and you can use those words.
We-
I guess it still looks about the same as it has been for the last month. 3 months, about the same. Year, yeah, I don't know. We had a good points in our year.
yeah.
What did it hit right here? Oh, this was its all-time high. Why is it there? I didn't think it was there. I thought it was back in May. I don't know. They're lying to us. Um, but things have been sad. Definitely looking up, and that would be directly, I think, related to this. Biden's Bitcoin executive order. So if you weren't paying attention to the crypto world last week, oh, my mouse just got weirdo. Uh, Biden signed an executive order, I think on Wednesday, of so whatever that would have been. Um, maybe it was Thursday. I don't even know. But
Last week.
yeah, just last week. He signed an executive order that he wanted um, all the regulators to work together to come up with a consistent framework for crypto regulation. And that is a lot better of a tone than a lot of people thought that he may take. You know, we weren't sure, nobody's sure on what direction the governments will take on crypto. You got a lot of different governments adopting it as legal tender. So El Salvador, I think Mexico is going to be on the list. There's a handful of other ones that have already done it. Uh, so that's really interesting. And then I don't have it up, but the EU also had a vote. What's today? Wednesday? Maybe it was Monday. Um, for if they were just going to outright ban Bitcoin, and they decided to table that vote, obviously,
Mm. Yeah.
and there would be a lot of unhappy people in their country
Yeah.
and countries. Um, so that was interesting, and I think that's helped fuel it. And then if we get to the next big news is Instagram is also adding NFTs soon. That is going to
Was
be
it
interesting.
was it Twitter that had done it last?
But
Adding
Twitter,
NFTs? Okay.
I don't
Uh,
know if Twitter only did it for their profile picture.
Right. And they weren't verifying that it was you, the one that you actually owned, right?
That too,
That's
yeah.
where the
They didn't
problem
do a
was.
good job on it.
Yeah.
Um,
They're like, you can put whatever you want in there. We'll just
yeah,
say it.
yeah. So you could have your $1 million bored ape that you don't own, and pretend to maybe get invited to not real bored ape stuff, but maybe stuff just because you're perceived to be part of that group. Um, but what's interesting with Instagram is all about pictures, anyways.
Mhm.
So artists, creative people, people that buy those creative people's things or acquire the people's um, art and whatever, now can showcase it even more easily into a wider audience than OpenSea or Rarible or Mintable. I think they just all use it a bowl. I was like, I think it is Mintable, and I know Rarible's Rarible, but and whatever minting platform or whatever, I gotta adjust a little bit. So this one actually caught my interest just because of the platform. I know people still do Instagram. TikTok definitely seems to be the more popular one these days. But this could revitalize a little bit of interest in Instagram. Not that it's gone away. It's still, I don't know. I think still people are Instagram famous, right? I think that's still a thing. Just like
You're asking
YouTube.
the wrong person. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think
I think you're
the
right. I don't hear about it as much as I
yeah,
as I used to, but it's still like it's there.
it's still a thing. I think it's a bigger thing than Facebook. I think everybody's still just on Facebook because everybody hasn't went to something else in that way.
Yeah.
Um, and we're lazy.
I'm still on MySpace.
Yeah, that I mean, well, part of it was you got people that didn't know how to use technology on Facebook. So they're not out there exploring to go find the next big thing.
Yeah.
They've already found their platform. All their peeps are, on the platform, whether you like it or not. It is, it gives you a very convenient way to communicate with people you knew, um, in the
Yeah.
past.
And your folks.
Yeah,
You you just reach out to your folks on
yeah. A
you
lot of
see
people use it
anything?
as their main communication tool.
Yeah.
So I don't, but I just use it to stalk Rick. That's it.
I'm sure he appreciates it.
Yeah, I
He
haven't
does.
seen any
But
shirtless pictures lately, though. I'm a little disappointed.
yeah. Well, it's been winter, so
Yeah.
the t-shirt weather,
You still
it
live
is.
where it's warm.
What's that?
I said you still live where it's warm. Don't give me this, but it's
Mm.
been winter. I think I've heard
Yeah,
70
I said
degree days.
80.
80. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
Yeah. No, but that's why I said it was t-shirt weather, not
It's
no
shirtless
t-shirt
weather.
weather. Yeah.
All right. So let's see. Yeah, Twitter's famous decision. You called that out for NFT
Mhm.
profile pictures in January.
Oh, Reddit has NFT avatars.
I forgot. OnlyFans also enabled NFT profile pictures. And I laugh for those that aren't aware of what OnlyFans is. It's
Use your
um
imagination.
yeah, yeah. Because
I
it's not a porn site. I don't want to degrade it that low, but I mean it can be. It's
well,
whatever
it
they
just
want it
I
to
mean,
be.
the name kind of implies that it's only for like you're not just going to go there and just like get like Facebook and just or Twitter or whatever, Instagram and just like look at stuff and just random things like you're going it to me it implies that you're going there to look for something specific and
You
you will
are,
absolutely find it and
but
you
you have
can
to
just
pay.
like
It's
that
not
sounds
even.
it that it also seems implied in the name.
Yeah, it's not even like you get to go preview stuff. I don't think. I mean, maybe they have a preview thing like when you first go, but what I
Yeah,
believe it is.
your first 5 minutes is free.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, and I'm not sure exactly if they would if they're like I've never really paid attention to it. I know that you can make a lot of money if you get fans, and but yeah, it's your own paywall. Um, I don't know. It's like it's what would it would be like you get to stand on the outside. So we went when we went to Tech Days, right? And I'm gonna bust grandma out. Oh my gosh, on the world. Yeah. So this is a
Oh,
great story. So real quick on Tech Days, uh we went to Antwerp and then we took a trip up to Amsterdam because she wanted to see Amsterdam and she wanted to go to the red light district, right? And
mhm.
so I would say most people should not should be, but I think are aware of what that is in Amsterdam. And if you're not, just Google red light district. And so you would have people, in rooms and then the glass storefront, right? And just that's what OnlyFans is. And so yeah, yeah, it was funny because Grandma was just like, "Oh, I want to go see that street," and I'm like, "Really?" And she's like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Okay, cool." And so it was pretty cool. I mean, it's definitely if you go travel up there, yeah, definitely go walk down it. I mean, not with your kids probably, but it's interesting. And there's
Or
nothing.
maybe with your kids if they're old enough. Not to
Yeah. Oh
see
yeah,
something
yeah.
like
If
that,
they're
but
old
to
enough.
explain
Yeah.
explain
And
what's
maybe
what's
even with
happening.
younger kids, I don't know. It just depends on how you approach things. I mean, if they're prepared, just don't take and don't be unprepared for what's there.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah,
definitely
if you're
see.
ready for the
Yeah,
talk.
yeah. If you're ready for the talk, then you're good to go.
And as well as,
But it's interesting,
explaining
and
people's
so
decisions.
yeah. So that's what OnlyFans to me has always been. It's just been you get to stand on the outside. You never can go in. You just
Yep.
there always get to look from the window front. And you got to pay a monthly subscription. It's interesting. It's an interesting concept. I think it's just fine. I mean, I don't have a problem with whatever. Because if you want to go
No,
and
as
pay,
long as
go and
everybody's
pay.
adults and
Yeah, exactly. As long as everybody is not breaking any laws, and those laws are definitely ones that should be um, adhered to.
yeah.
But
Yep.
moving on.
Stay safe.
Yeah, stay safe. Moving on from OnlyFans on our crypto channel.
Yeah.
We gave them a
I know
huge
it
shout
turned
out.
into a tech talk.
Yeah, TikTok. So then American Express is like all these people are talking about getting into the metaverse and whatever. We've talked about what the metaverse is and NFT markets. And as I continue down the line of news, did this one not show it? Oh, here it is, right here. Here's one that has Amex um, trademark filing suggests possible entry into the metaverse. But I just saw another one, which, if people are familiar with banks, HSBC, which I've seen on a lot of my credit card stuff and just in general out in the world. Um, Trying to find, is also bought. 'Cause I think it's 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 metaverse land. And when we talk about companies buying metaverse land, whether it's in Decentraland or another popular one's the Sandbox, which is the one where HSBC just bought stuff. Um, it's just advertising fronts. It's just going to be their platform that they can advertise their stuff out of. You'll be able to, I think you'll be able to go there like a store. I haven't really explored it, like actually gone into much of the metaverse. It's still really being built. But that's what, whenever you see that. So all these big companies are buying very expensive $1 million plots of land. So they're spending millions and billions of dollars to be able to advertise in the metaverse space. That, you're not going to have the government just shut all that down. And they're getting tipped off ahead of time when, you know, when it's time to enter and when it's time to leave. And right now everybody's entering. So that gets us right into, well, one more news article, but it gets us right into NFTs still. Real estate is also popping up more and more with NFTs. I believe it was in Florida, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Right? NFT house?
Yep. Yeah, I sent you that article. Oh, it sold?
Oh, that's old. Right here. What's this? I believe this is the picture you sent, right?
Yep.
And so there's a home. I'm going to slide this tab down by my other real estate one. And so there are homes already. Bidders will pay using cryptocurrency. And that will be the first piece of US. So that other article, I don't know what that one was talking about. And I'm pretty sure this is a correct statement, that it'll be the first one sold as an NFT. And let's see, what does that mean, though? So they're explaining what an NFT is. Yeah, we know. We know what an NFT is. We're all part of pretending to program, right? We're the pretenders
Mm-hmm.
here.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, this is exactly what we expect. You'll be able to sell the home as quickly as a Venmo transaction. So you put the ownership documents under a limited liability corporation. In short, oh, that's awesome. The NFT itself is an LLC. Huh. I'll have to think about that angle a little bit more. That's not something that's
With
crossed my mind.
yeah, with something like this, so um obvious, I feel like it's obvious, but I'm going to ask anyways. A traditional mortgage wouldn't work though, right? Because um
No, you're right.
they wouldn't accept it. So
Um,
you
yeah,
you
it could still work. It would be the bank would own the company. It's the same thing. You don't own your house until you pay it off. So they hold the title. They own really the rights to it. Right? Am I correct in what I'm thinking?
I think I think so. I just like when you buy this NFT, are you buying it with crypto though, or are you buying it with actual dollars? I guess
Well,
maybe that's
okay, so if it's really simple if you can pay for the house, right? We're not
hmm
discussing that. So if
yeah.
you have 600 and so we'll call it 700K sitting around in a
hmm
Bitcoin. So I'm trying to think of 700,000, they're at 40. Wow. It's gonna cost you a few Bitcoins. So it's just funny when you ever when I think of Bitcoins, I think of partial pieces because I'm poor. So it's like
Right.
0.05 or something Bitcoin. And so thinking of somebody handing over like 8 Bitcoins or 10 Bitcoins, in this case, it would be what, 12, 15 ish, something like that, maybe 16 ish. Um, so, uh, Yeah, it's a little different. That's an easy transaction. You just transfer your 16 bitcoins from current owner to the new owner, right? Or from the new owner to the current owner, right? And so buyer seller, nice and easy. But what you're talking about is when you're trying to, like everybody that is in the United States, when you're going to buy a house, you can't pay for it all. And so what you would do, I don't know if the bank would accept cryptocurrency. That's where the spot transaction is, where you have to do that part. Where it gets complicated is, what is the value in the future of the cryptocurrency? So the house will maintain its own value. So it will stay at 700,000, 650, and fluctuate with market real estate. It'll be minted as an NFT. It just means all its documents are on the blockchain.
Mhm.
The bank will own it. The bank will pay for it with the 16 bitcoins. So the bank will use their 16 bitcoins. How you have to pay back your loan will be determined by the terms of your loan. So if the bank is operating purely in cryptocurrency, or you work out that type of loan, then that's what you're going to do. The problem that happens, so the bank's value at that point is spending 700, 600,000 of Bitcoin. Yeah, it doesn't really change much. It's just the value. The reason that I was saying your Bitcoins might not go as far from week to week if you're paying it back in cryptocurrency over time. So that's where over time, the value of what you would have to pay back if you had to pay it in cryptocurrency could drastically fluctuate. It could go to zero. It could go to, hundreds of thousands of dollars per Bitcoin, depending if that's what you're paying in. Um, so the payments paying back may be good or bad. I don't know, because you may end up paying more for the house than it was worth.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know what that would, because I mean, that would be the value of your coin at that moment when you make your payment. So it'd just be like you're paying the same. Now for the bank, on the bank side, it's irrelevant because they own an asset. So it's
Yeah.
based off of the value of that house. So they don't care if Bitcoin goes up or down. They paid their money at that point. And if they hold a bunch of Bitcoin, then they want it to go up because then they just get more for what they paid for. And the same for the regular people. So I don't know what it would look like if the banks would right off the bat just require it to be paid back in Bitcoin, which would be how they would reaccumulate it.
Mhm.
Um, because they would want to reaccumulate their Bitcoin. I don't know. It's interesting because that's what Odell Beckham Jr. took a football player that I think he plays for the Rams. Yeah, I think he won the Super Bowl, and he took his salary in Bitcoin, and he took it all up front, and then Bitcoin dropped, I believe is what happened. So then the value of his Bitcoins were far, like, I don't know, 30% less than what he would have got if he would have taken it in US dollar. So scenarios like that where you're actually getting the coins, that's different than doing payments. You know what I mean? Because you wouldn't,
Yeah.
because it's just like your bank account. It would just be you paying out of your bank account. So at that moment, if the dollar's worth more or less, if it's going
Yeah.
further or
So now
not.
it's
Yeah.
it's kind of like a variable interest rate then instead of a fixed one, and you have no
Yeah.
idea what you're going to be paying.
Yeah, it
And
could be like a
yeah,
variable interest rate in a way. I mean, again, it
it
just,
seems.
if you're just required to pay in Bitcoin and you accumulate it early and it drops, it's expensive. And if you don't and it goes up, and then you have to buy it to pay. But at that moment, if you're buying, it's kind of irrelevant in a way. If you don't have any Bitcoins and you have to make your monthly payment, then you would just buy, say, your monthly payment's $2,000. Well, on a $600,000 house and a 30-year mortgage, I don't know what that would turn into, but um, let's say you had $2,000. You're just gonna go buy $2,000 with your U.S. dollars, and I mean, to me, it's the same, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
I don't know. It kind of depends. It depends on like if you've held it, like what you're trying to do. I guess that's the same as regular currency. I don't know.
That sounds
Probably
like it's
sounded
a
really dumb.
I hope it's probably better just to if you were in this situation, it might be better just to pay for it
In this
up front because
situation,
then
it's
you
irrelevant. I still think it's irrelevant. I don't think anything
it
really
seems less
changes.
complicated.
I think it's just easy. I think because you're still gonna have all your paperwork with your bank, so you haven't
Yeah.
streamlined that at all. That's it. Until
Yep.
until the agreement with your mortgage is an NFT, then unless you're rich, this means nothing to you. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I
I
personally,
see.
I probably know somebody that can buy a house, like just like know them, but I don't know anybody that can just outright buy a house. you know,
Yeah.
it's kind of like just like throw down $1 million and be like, yeah, I just bought that house. I mean, that's not
Yeah,
the
I don't.
yeah. And I think most of the people that would listen to us and most of the people in the United States don't know those people. I mean, they
Mm.
might have the one or associate them with them or whoever their boss or something like that maybe.
Yeah.
All right, we're
Hmm.
getting so that was real estates. It's again the same thing. I don't think there's really any loss of money. Um, it's just if you happen to buy the tokens early and they appreciate or not or depreciate. It's all depends when you buy your tokens. And my recommendation, unless you need the money, is always just if you're gonna buy, just hold them. Don't worry about it. It'll more than likely just keep going up. I think that's what I think it'll be similar to the stock market, but keep an eye on quantum computers. There's nothing else out of here. Yeah, real estate and the blockchain is coming fast. I do agree. It'll streamline the actual transactions so much. The mortgage part will be have to be handled on its own. All right, you want to take a break right now?
Yeah, I could use some more coffee.
Yep, I can use a fresher. So we're gonna take just a quick break. So grab coffee. So maybe 3 minutes, something like that.
Yep, that sounds good. We can make it a quick one.
Okay, cool.
Well, you have farther to go than I do.
Yeah, just a few extra steps. All right.
All right. See you in a minute.
I gotta put on our music. What? I can't see though. Why is this music? Oh, is it not on? There we go.
That
Yo.
welcome back.
Back. Where's my mic all wobbly? Ooh, I gotta tighten that up. All right. Static NFTs. We have talked about those. That would be where the information that it uses is static. So
Okay.
that was horrible.
That's awesome. Okay.
So, we showed how you can do unlockable stuff and you can have GIFs and videos, and it's just really pointing to a file on a decentralized. Well, it doesn't even have to be decentralized. It can be horribly centralized. It could be on somebody's OneDrive where the actual image is stored, which would be, oh, that'd be such a bad NFT to get. Not knowing. It's just like
Yeah.
on somebody's Google Drive or OneDrive or something. Um,
Yeah.
but we're talking about its data. The data that it reads and uses at some point. So, what's recorded on the blockchain is going to be static. It can't be changed. The owners, that's about the only thing that would ever be able to change. I'm trying to think of what else would be able to be changed. But I want to try something. We need to make a note. Um, can you make a note in our note thing
Yep.
that
Pulling
I
it up.
want to try to, just like what we were talking. What happens if you swap out the file on somebody's OneDrive, right? Because it's just the pointer to the file name. Could you change the image? That'd be kind of cool.
Um,
So, huh?
what do you want to know?
I
I'm sorry, I was confused by
Yeah,
what
you were
you were
constant.
saying.
You were focusing on opening one note. Yeah.
Yeah, that too. But no, I was like, I want to make sure that I put down a meaningful note.
Yeah. So, what we were just talking about, if you had an NFT image that is pointed to your somebody's personal drive, right, and they didn't pay for that or deleted all the files in that folder or whatever, right, you would
Mm-hmm.
lose your NFT. So, what I want to try is to swap out the file, same file name. Does your NFT's image change then? I would imagine it would. I don't see why it wouldn't. Okay.
Okay. I think I get what you're saying.
Yeah, because think of our app JSON file, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just points to a logo, right? It doesn't care what
Yeah.
the logo is, the
Yeah.
name. How many times when we get bought, right? How many times do we just like, oh, time to swap out the logo?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. um,
But it was still
okay.
called logo.png or JPEG or whatever. So
Yep.
yeah, that's what I just want to see if we can trade it. It's just probably be off air test, but maybe we'll do it on air.
I'll put
So
it under miscellaneous.
yeah, just something to do. Or my messy ideas page that I have on
Yeah.
there.
Mm.
So the info can't be changed. Oh, lo and behold, there's dynamic ones. And what do you think
Yep.
that means? Yep, can
It means
change.
it can change.
For example, a static NFT trading card of a baseball player would reflect that player's stats during a single season. By
Mm-hmm.
contrast, a dynamic NFT of a baseball player could hypothetically update its stats on the fly to reflect that player's real world performance. I collected baseball cards as a young child, and I did look at the stats. I didn't look at the stats as much as I just cared about, oh, I got this cool player. Is he worth anything?
Right.
And so that was more of my interest in it. And I wasn't the biggest baseball fan, but I do remember looking at the stats, and it'd be kind of cool to have them updated throughout the season. Um, I did think even as a kid, I was like, that's just such a snapshot in time because you'd look at this one player and they would have been good or they were bad, and now they're great, and then their stats were good or bad at one time. So it's kind of
Yeah, but
interesting. What? Go
isn't
ahead.
that kind of what makes them um more
Collectible.
collectible? Thank
Mhm.
you. We got it at the same time. Uh, the fact that they do change, like, but that card stays the same. I never collected anything, so I don't. I don't really know how that works, but my assumption was like, oh, this is when this really great player first started, and this is where he started from. This is like his picture or whatever, and his stats from the first year or whatever, first couple years.
Yeah.
And then
So
that's what makes it like collectible. But if it can change, then it's not a reflection of when this person started. I don't know.
yeah, no, you're
But
exactly
but
right.
it,
I'm sure that
I'm just
collectors would probably also want or more want what you just explained, right?
the
Because of
static.
yeah, the static one because of that. So you would get probably both. I mean, I'm not saying that you would get both in the same purchase, but you would probably have both cases that you could satisfy. You know, you have
Hmm.
one one that you acquire because that player is your favorite player. I can still remember uh, when I was growing up, my dad was a huge Bears fan, and you know the players like the Fridge, William Perry, he played on the Bears, and Mike Singletary and Jim McMahon and Walter Payton. I mean, they have a huge award just for him. Um, that would be cool to have maybe the image be whenever they were at their peak and then the stats across their whole career, right? And
Hmm.
so, and you, like, as you gain interest in that player, maybe you'd want that dynamic to grow. But then I do totally agree that you would lose that contrast of, okay, they were really bad, or maybe they started out really good and got worse, or maybe they just were the average. And, you know, yep, you would lose any of that having that as the collectible if you had it as dynamic. But maybe those pieces don't change. I don't know.
Well,
You can build it any way you'd want, right? And
yeah.
so that's probably what you would have in different lines, like what they had tops and leaf and upper deck and fleer, and I forget there was one with a D, I thought, but yeah.
What
So
are
maybe
those the different?
the different card brands, I guess. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
know. Companies that made
I was
baseball
like, I've
cards.
never heard of
Sorry.
any of
Yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah. That's the like you would collect these different cards, and some would be shiny and some would be like
Oh,
with a
okay.
would border frame, and then some
Yeah.
were more expensive than others because they put more money into their cards. Tops, I think, was like a popular one. That was the cheap one, but that's the one everybody had. It's the one I think that's the one that gave you the stick of horrible bubblegum in it.
I was just gonna ask, wasn't there one that? Yeah, because I feel like my brother would like we would get those sometimes.
Yep.
And we never wanted the card. We always wanted the gum,
Yeah, it
even though
was
it was
horrible
horrible.
gum too.
Yeah, it would just like break, crumble.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
It was like chewing rocks. Did my mouth go?
So,
Yeah, kind of. I was
oh,
trying to look
the,
over at myself, and
there's a garbage truck, so the dogs might start going.
yeah,
I'm gonna
it's all right.
just a second.
So one of the biggest draws to NFTs is the permanency of data on the blockchain. Um, it stops people from creating a picture of a cat and then changing it into a picture of a dog. That is not true. Do not be misled by that. They can still do that with a static NFT. That's what we're going to test out. So all our people that bought our you know, we sold out so fast of our NFTs. Um
Yep.
what was the last going price, like $50,000 for one, I think, something like that. That was crazy.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yep.
Um, we're totally lying.
I wish.
Yeah.
And yeah, we already just said that we couldn't buy a house, and let alone know somebody that could just buy a house.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we should have said that first. Yeah, all of our NFTs sold.
Yep. So, um, like you should just like what we were talking about. It's not stored on a decentralized file network. Yeah, remember there's different layers of these networks, and so that which was interplanetary file system IPFS. We gotta figure out how to say that. Um, but
Yep.
ipsis ipsis. Um, so that you could change out the file, you could delete it. So, but NFTs that push the boundaries like gaming, where interactivity is essential. This is where oracles come in. So we got about 20 minutes. And oracles are a big topic.
Ooh,
They are
awesome.
third-party data feeds. That connect blockchains to external systems. In essence, this means that dynamic NFTs can utilize oracles to constantly change based on new information, real world information, while still being decentralized and truly ownable. For an example, if a game developer wanted to create an NFT sword that changes form every time, I think we read this exact article,
Yeah. Well, I
but
didn't.
we
I
need to
don't feel like.
refresh it. We might have not read it on air, but I read this exact example.
Yeah, we've talked about this example, but the rest of the article,
Yeah, seemed a little
uh,
different. So
yeah,
somebody plagiarized, or we just forget what we read,
yeah,
um, which is
both
probably the
are
latter.
equally.
Yeah.
I
No,
was
no,
gonna
I'm
say
gonna
they're
lean
like
towards.
equally possible.
I'm gonna go with we probably just read this. I don't know if we did it on air because we do as much as we play it down. We do research outside of the 5 minutes before we start the show. But back to our example. Dynamic NFT would be if a game developer wanted to create an NFT sword that changes every time it rains. They could utilize an oracle to pull data. It says weather data, but I do want to not use it actually as weather, getting the weather, because they use that as a generic term to get data. It's kind of like going and checking the weather. So you're just going to check to see what the data says at that moment, and then you do something based off of it. So they kind of use that as a generic term too. It's just confusing here. Um, so then it updates the NFT accordingly. Rather than needing human input to continuously update the NFT's data, the Oracle does it automatically. What does that mean? Um, oh, okay. So this ceramic must be an Oracle. I'll have to look into that. Um, but they allow limited user input even. It's kind of cool. Depends what your Oracle would allow you to do. And man, every time I hit the mini button, it just goes crazy. I have like a fine movement on that trackball, and it's
Is
right
this
there by
something that?
default. Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
I was talking to
is it?
myself. My own struggles over here. Go ahead. You were deep in thought. Not even.
I
And
was
I
totally
interrupted
deep
you.
in thought.
Yep. It's
You're
just
like
funny.
this mouse.
Yeah, I was totally like my mouse. Uh, but yeah, what about
Yeah.
ceramic?
Um, so, well, just oracles in general. So, is this, or maybe ceramic, is this something that you would use? So, we've talked about and being able to use NFTs to allow people into like shows and stuff like that, like in the metaverse.
Mm-hmm.
So if something new came up, is this like something that you would use to update that NFT to say like, hey, there's this new event, blah blah blah, without having to like know who the people are and email them or like have them kind of have to keep track? Like, is that what you would use, or
Yeah,
am
that's
I making
exactly.
sense?
I think I have an
Okay.
example of that. Or I don't know where it was. They talked about it with Super Bowl tickets. Yep. If your
Oh,
dates
okay.
times change, right? You
Yep.
can just update it. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly just like
All right. I was just trying to make sure I was keeping up
that.
with
Yep.
what we were talking
Yeah.
about.
No, good question. Very good question because
I'm the average person.
you you are far above average, but at the same
Aw,
time, your
thanks.
questions maybe are for the average person.
That's awesome. Thank you.
So, yeah, it's exactly that. That's where it would come into play. The game example is pretty nice, but what would be usable in the real world would be able to concert tickets, dates, times change. If you're going to a Kanye concert, you might actually be able to know when he's really going to start. I heard that they said he was 2 hours late or something to his
Whoa.
last concert. Like this is his thing, but it would just like it's just so rude. That's it. I don't care. It's just rude, and so
Yeah, well, with
it'd be
how
cool.
expensive tickets are now, like I
Yeah,
can't even imagine how much a Kanye ticket is, but
yeah.
like when we went and saw Alice Cooper and it would have been super disappointing, especially with like how freaked out everybody is with everything. You're just in a large group of people for an extra 2 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I
it's
don't know.
like so many.
I mean, I guess you can plan ahead, but you know, I remember my concert days. You wanted to get to the front, so you get there early, and oh man, that would have been like to have to wait an extra 2 hours. That would have just been horrible. I would have been so dehydrated, so just worn down by the time the show starts.
Hmm.
Ugh. And I'd imagine his shows, like if you're a super fan, you know, typically um you want to be in a good spot, you know. So
Yeah.
and then
Well,
that
yeah,
means you have to hold it. That means you have to get there early.
yeah, yeah, and you can't. It seems like I'm just curious. Like, it would be really hard to get the energy back
I would
from the
have.
crowd because it's got to be like to do that all the time to go out and perform in front of people would be so draining. I can't even imagine like and then getting to a crowd that's been waiting for you for 2 hours to try and get them back
Maybe that's a
so that you can
testament to
perform.
his skill too. We're knocking him, but he just rolls in and people still come to his shows.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, they're just like,
yeah,
oh, he finally made it. We're so lucky that he showed up to
yeah.
this event we paid for. But
Yeah,
you can get your updates if he's gonna cancel or whatnot, but you'd already be at the show. You wouldn't know. But they could refund you easily, say an artist did get sick, right? You know, there's legitimate cancellations and things that happen where things don't happen, you know, things just can't go on. Uh-oh, we lost her. Horrible. Last minute. I didn't know we were ending early. Um, so, given owner ability. So here with the ceramic network, they're talking about you can change uh, the the user, the owner can change the ability. So, oh, I don't know. I see her back. I can't hear her yet. Nope, not officially back. But they were talking up here if you needed permissions to be able to update some of it. So you'd build in whoever's the owner is allowed to update it. And then here, this probably validates that you're the owner. I would assume you connect your wallet to some network, you know, some page. And then it validates you actually own it. And then that allows you to update the content. That's pretty cool.
super cool.
Hiccup burps.
You still can't hear me?
I can now.
Oh, oh,
Just
okay.
just came up.
I
So,
figured I'd just keep talking until you could hear me.
yep, yep. And so then we got to look at this IDX identity protocol, which allows users to link multiple blockchains, wallets, and social accounts. I think I came across this one before. Click it because we're almost done. And so dynamic. Let's keep going. Oh, it just opened it right there. Yeah, let's slide you to the end. And the industry will need to have dynamic NFTs. Blah blah blah. Media
This is what we were
rich.
talking about before.
Huh?
And this is kind of
Oh,
what we were talking about
here right
before.
here. Here we go. The concept can be applied. That's why I had this tab up, because it was that example that you were talking about. Any special edition item or event, or even event tickets sold like NFTs. The NFL offered NFT tickets to Super Bowl attendees earlier this month. Any changes related to pertinent game goer information? Oh my gosh, that would also be cool because wow, that would be way more targeted than if you wanted to update information about, let's just use COVID restrictions, right?
Hmm.
you could you could target exactly who. I gotta talk to you offline, by the way. I had a like a crazy idea. So, but you could target exactly who needed that information, right?
Yeah.
That's even more useful than changing the event day. I didn't think of what if your COVID restrictions change? You're dropping them across. I would want to know, if I don't have to wear a mask or I don't have to show vaccination status. We're getting ready to travel.
Yeah.
And that would be great if that was tied into part of the airline ticket. Um,
Well,
so
I guess if you had were vaccinated, could it show on your ticket already so then you wouldn't
exactly.
have to have your
That
card?
would be going back to that identity protocol where they tie everything and you can get, so you would be able to prove who you are. And so if you tied into that network, then it would, you would be able to update that. Cause yeah, you would, I don't have it. I just read it yesterday, I think. Somebody did NFTs or partnered with San San Marino, some country to do their COVID vaccinations as NFTs.
Hmm.
And so so that now you already have that, and somebody's already really doing it as a country, and you just integrate that technology into what you just said. Yep, exactly.
Very cool.
Because
That's
I
awesome.
mean, there's that does get into the HIPAA, I call it BS that we have here, but people do actually prejudice people according to their health
Oh
conditions,
yeah,
which
for
is
sure.
horrible.
Yeah.
So I think HIPAA's dumb only because I think prejudicing, making decisions based off of somebody's health information isn't always. There's cases where you have to, right? If you're doing something that's very sensitive, you can't have people that might pass out or have problems. But I think we're talking about generic stuff where people use it against them to bully them or do something really bad. Um, and so, you have HIPAA, which puts a lot of restrictions in place. I find HIPAA silly only because that I don't think people should be using that type of information against people. So then why would you need the law if you're not doing that? But people do it, so we need the laws.
Yeah.
Um, but the vaccination card would kind of, the whole medical thing. That's why we haven't got truly great tech systems in the medical industry because of people being poopy, right?
Yeah.
That's, I mean,
Yeah.
that's really
I
it. We
agree.
wouldn't need all those safety protocols if people just were excellent people, wonderful people to each other,
I like excellent. Yeah.
right? I mean,
Aw.
that
Yeah.
would
So
be a lot better. But
a
so
little bit of billing
that
to
the
the
COVID card though, they've already been making people show it. So I mean, that right there just you know was, I guess it's not, that one doesn't fall under HIPAA, right?
yep.
I think it does if other things do. So I've always found that a little odd. But yeah, same thing. That's great. Um there you go. Vivid. I bought tickets from them. They're like ticket reseller like StubHub or something. And then we have oracles, and this goes into I want to shorten this because we only got a few minutes left. This one talks about the risks of being able to change data, um, and the complexities. So now these oracles, you're basically turning the decentralized system back into a centralized system again, because everything would have to flow through that
Mm.
oracle.
Yep.
And but we really need to be real with ourselves. The word decentralized is a, I guess would be like what people throw around a lot nowadays is like democracy. I mean, there are these big words that are utopias that are the perfect situation. It's not going to be decentralized. I've come to realize that is not true because there's still many points of failure within the blockchain environment. When I say points of failure, right? If you're investing in cryptocurrency, you got to go through exchanges to get your money out, you know?
Mhm.
And we've seen over the last month them targeting regions and individuals and shutting down the ability to do that. So there is still a centralized aspect. So, like, to worry about the oracles being centralized, I think you got other things to worry about. But just do keep in mind, if you rely on certain systems, like like what we're currently dealing with Facebook and Google and Microsoft and Apple, that's what this whole thing is supposed to be helping fight, I guess. the monopolization of tech, but it still happens. It's still there, and they're talking about it right here. And this one's a really good one that really talks about the risks and stuff, and then how it works and how it's great. So, and let's see, NFTs. Oh yeah, hoping to ask a question. Um, be incentivized. Okay, so a recent example of a dynamic NFT was this Miami crypto experience, which issued blockchain built NFT tickets to their event. Attendees simply scan the QR code at the gate, giving them access to Web3 workshop, to all the event stuff. Another example, live event with a queue in line for questions. Yeah, that would be cool. So, you would be able to show that you own the NFT, so you would connect to the Oracle, and then you could, because that would prove your identity. You're gonna need the Oracle probably to prove that you own it. That's probably an important thing. And then, yeah, then you just check a box that you got a question. So then when it's your turn, they would call out your username or whatever, and you'd be able to do it. That's good. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I was
Like
just
at a
thinking of
live
people's
event.
usernames.
oh yeah.
All of a sudden, it's like,
Yeah.
maybe you just get a ding instead.
Yeah.
They're
How
like,
many times have you
"Here's
said what you're saying about where your mind is, your 12-year-old boy or
that
something like that?
12-year-old sense of humor."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that
Wonder
one
Bart.
that'd be so. That's the Bart Simpson humor there. Definitely. So yeah, username. So they might have to have some kind of standards on that Oracle.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting because like, how do you do it? Because if you think about it, your it's just a wallet attached to it, so it's a crazy GUID ID. It's
Yeah.
like, what are they gonna
Yeah.
read off the last 4 characters or 8 characters or
Maybe you
something?
have to, like, when you submit your question and the name you want them to say, which could also be um,
So
funny.
interesting.
Yeah.
We didn't really get into building them per se, but you can build it on Polygon, and then in this case, I believe they're using Chainlink as their Oracle. Which Chainlink is a nice one. I think that's Polygons. Maybe they're only doing it with Polygon only. No, there's probably still an Oracle that sits on top. But plenty of examples. It's not much extra than what you've already done with your other NFT minting. And then, oh,
I've got a question.
yeah, we'll just
Can
close
you?
this.
Oh,
It was
can
just
you?
talk about Ethereum's merge. So
Oh,
go ahead.
um. So if you mint an NFT like we did, not through code, so we just did it in OpenSea, can you still use an Oracle, or is it just a static NFT at that point? Do you have to, is using the Oracle, does that mean that you have to um, do it through code?
That is an excellent question.
Yes, I love it
Excellent.
when I have excellent questions.
And I think we'll answer it next Wednesday. We talk about
Oh my
smart
gosh, I can't wait.
contracts. So
I can't wait.
that will be covered in our smart contracts. I mean, we'll make sure we cover it now because it has to do with the smart contract.
Oh, excellent.
Yep.
Can't wait.
All right. So that's it. We're out of time. Time to
It's been
go
real and it's been fun.
make the cabbage.
Yeah. Yep. I
Grow
call it
the
making the
cabbage.
donuts.
Making the donuts.
Yeah.
What I
That's what I
call it.
tell the dogs in the morning.
Life
Like, it's
juice.
time to don't call it that. Not on air.
Right at the end, somebody just tunes in right then. They're like, "Oh yeah, they were talking about." No, they tune in during OnlyFans discussion. Then at the very
Yeah.
end, yeah, horrible, 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 Jeff. Um, so
It's a good thing you got me here to make sure that
yeah,
everyone definitely has their mind in the gutter.
so Saturday, do your dogs need glasses?
Probably.
I I think dogs may need glasses. Maybe not. Or is their eyesight better than ours? What can they see? How much of this do people know? We will cover it Saturday.
I can't wait. I'm excited.
Along with a lot of other fun and exciting topics.
Hmm.
And
And just some rambling for
then
rambling
that's pretty much all the time. And then we got smart contracts next Wednesday. And then a week from Saturday, we have space travel. We have quantum computers. Why can't we block spam and unwanted messaging?
Man, that's a
Right?
good
That
question.
should be our focus. Like, we should stop worrying about creating vaccines and block spam first.
I think most people would appreciate it.
Probably not agree. But,
No.
yep.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, have a wonderful week.
Yeah. Have a good week.
We'll talk to you later.
Saturday.
Saturday. Yep. Bye.
Bye. Bye.